midnight.
I'm Rod Sterling. You're listening to the Zero Hour.
Suspense. I'm the Whistler.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Presents The Man Called X.
The Mysterious Traveler. Another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves. Where are we going? You'll find out when we get there.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Drama and Theater, brought to you by Duane Old Time Radio. Drama and Theater features some of the best programs from the golden age of radio, including Escape, The Fat Man, Suspense, The Whistler, Zero Hour, Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, and many, many more. Before we start today's drama, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the drama. And thank you for your support, as always. Don't let Duane do it. Let George do it. Let George Do It is the name of the series for this week. 2 episodes. The Brookdale Orphanage, which is their 6th episode, October 25th, 1946. And then their 8th episode, The Robber, November 8th, 1946.
Your neighborhood Chevron gas station invites you to Let George Do It. Brought to you by the makers of climate-tailored Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George do it. That's the slogan George Valentine hung in his office when he got out of the Army with an idea and not much money to back it up. When a client shows up with a problem, George is happy. When no client appears, George is still happy. The worry department is handled by his secretary, Claire, and her brother, Sonny. Right now, George is sitting in his office when suddenly he hears a commotion outside. Claire. Hey, Claire, come in here.
What's the matter, Mr. Valentine? Oh, what's all that noise about?
Well, there's a crowd outside our office building.
Really? Oh, I wonder what's wrong.
I don't know. Must be some celebrity. Yeah, there. They're getting autographs.
Golly, look at the mob. Well, it must be someone very famous. Maybe it's the president.
Or Donald Duck.
I'm going downstairs to see.
No, Claire, you stay here. That mob will tear you to pieces.
I got it. I got his autograph.
Sonny.
Sonny, look at your shirt. It's in shreds.
Oh, what's a little thing like a shirt? I got his autograph. Look, see? Jimmy Jones.
Jimmy Jones?
Jimmy Jones?
Jeepers, don't you even know who he is?
Wait a minute. Don't tell me. Let me guess.
I know. He's a fullback for Notre Dame.
A player named Jones on the Notre Dame squad?
Oh, now I know, of course. Jimmy Jones, he's an actor. He plays in cowboy pictures.
He's not just an actor. He's a hero. Mr. Valentine, you know Thunderbolt, don't you?
I don't think I've ever had the pleasure.
Well, Thunderbolt's as famous as Jimmy Jones. It's his horse.
Did you get his autograph, too?
Well, the crowd's practically gone.
Yeah, now maybe we can get a little work done in this office. That is, if you feel up to it, Sonny.
I beg your pardon, but I'm looking for George Valentine.
Well, you found him. Come right on in.
Thanks. You're Mr. Valentine?
That's right.
Say, haven't we met before? Your face looks awfully familiar.
You know, I was just going to say the same thing to you. Your face looks awfully familiar, too.
Mr. Valentine, it's Jimmy Jones. You've seen him in the movies.
Oh, well, sure, of course. Sonny, is this your hero? Sonny.
Sonny.
He's petrified.
Jimmy Jones. Standing right in front of me.
He's one of your many fans, Mr. Jones.
Well, that's awfully nice of you, Sonny. May I shake your hand?
My hand?
This is your hand, Sonny. Come on, put it out.
Glad to know you, Sonny.
I'll never wash it again.
And this is Sonny's sister, my secretary, Claire Brooks.
How are you, Miss Brooks?
Don't shake her hand. Look what it did to Sonny.
Oh.
Mr. Valentine, I've heard about you, and I'm hoping that maybe you can help me.
Well, I've never failed anyone yet. Sit down, Mr. Jones.
I wish you'd call me Jimmy.
Okay, Jimmy.
I hope Claire and Sonny won't mind, but this matter's a little confidential. It's nothing I'm ashamed of, understand, but I've got to keep it quiet for business reasons.
Well, you can trust us, Jimmy.
Oh, you've nothing to worry about on that score, Mr. Jones. We won't say a word.
I'd die first.
Hey, you see, die first. Now go right ahead.
Well, the trouble is the kids like me. Maybe they like me because I like them. I'm crazy about kids, George, and I'd never want to disappoint them. I just can't let them down.
Well, of course not. Why would you let them down?
Maybe you've heard. I was raised in an orphanage, the Brookdale Orphanage. And every year, Thunderbolt and I put on a benefit performance for them. Naturally, they expect me to be there this year, too.
Naturally.
And they'll expect to see me riding my horse, Thunderbolt.
Naturally.
George, Claire, Sonny, you mustn't breathe a word of this to anyone. You disappoint kids all over the world.
Cross my heart.
We promise.
Well, go ahead, Jimmy. What's the matter?
Well, I'm afraid of horses.
You're what?
Oh, you can't be.
Suffering cat.
You see, we were shooting a picture and something frightened Thunderbolt. He shied and stumbled.
He threw you?
That's right, and then he stepped on me.
Oh, how awful.
Oh, it was an accident. Thunderbolt didn't mean to hurt me, but I was laid up for a long time. After that, I just couldn't get up enough nerve to ride him. Or for that matter, to ride any horse.
Yeah, but Jimmy...
I know it sounds silly, George. I keep telling myself that, but it doesn't do any good.
Oh, sure, I understand. Well, what about your career?
Well, since the accident, they have a double who does the riding for me.
Oh, I see. If this came out, you'd be through in pictures.
Oh, that's not important. Think of the kids. Why, if they found out, they wouldn't believe in anything anymore.
Well, that settles it, Jimmy. You can't make a personal appearance at the Brookdale Orphanage this year. You can't take the chance.
But, George, those kids are looking forward to it.
Your trouble is that you're too sentimental about kids. Now, you have nothing more to worry about, Jimmy. I'm in complete charge.
I was hoping you'd say that.
I'll tell them you had a nervous breakdown or something. You can send Thunderbolt with one of his trainers.
Oh, but they want to see me ride him. The kids will never forgive me.
Now, you leave that to me, will you, Jimmy? I'll take care of them. I know just how to handle kids.
Mrs. Martin is the superintendent of the orphanage. She's in the play yard with the children now, but I'll get her for you, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, thanks, miss. Just tell her it's about Jimmy Jones. I'm sort of taking charge of things for him.
Oh, you know Jimmy Jones.
Yes, of course.
Oh, I'd love to have his autograph. Oh, are you anybody?
No, nobody much. Would you tell Mrs. Martin we're here?
Oh, yes, of course. Just make yourselves right at home. I'll only be a minute.
Mr. Valentine, what are you going to tell Mrs. Martin?
Just that Jimmy's been working too hard, and that he can't appear here, that's all. There's nothing to it.
Oh, those poor kids.
Oh, now, Claire, you're making too much of this. You're as bad as Jimmy. It's ridiculous worrying about a bunch of kids. He's got to protect his career.
But he means so much to them.
Now, listen, Claire, he can't appear at the benefit. Do you understand? Anyway, the kids are more interested in seeing his horse.
That's not true.
Well, Jimmy can send over some ice cream and cake. That'll get them. Just fill up their stomachs, and they'll be happy.
Mr. Valentine, how can you be so hard-boiled?
I just face facts, that's all.
Oh, I'm going to wait outside.
Where?
I prefer fresh air.
Women.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
What's your name? Where do you live?
Well,
How old are you?
Well, hey, now hold everything. Why the third degree, honey?
What's a third degree?
Do you always talk in questions?
What did you say?
Now, wait a minute. Look, we're not getting anywhere this way. My name is George. Never mind the rest. Now, come on. Tell me something about yourself.
I've got a pet mouse.
Uh-huh. Yeah?
A white one with a long tail.
Really? What's his name?
George.
George. What a coincidence.
I just named him George.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you, honey. That's quite a compliment.
Do you know any games?
Games? Well, now, let's see. I used to play some games with my nieces.
What are nieces?
What are nieces? Well, nieces are, they're people. I mean, I'm their uncle, see? So that makes them my nieces. You get it?
I don't have any uncle.
Oh, well, that's tough, honey.
But I have a brother.
Well, wonderful. I always say there's nothing like a brother. Why, that's a million times better than an uncle.
Jimmy Jones is my brother.
Jimmy Jones?
He told all us kids he'd be our big brother.
Oh.
So now we each have a family, don't we?
Oh, yeah, sure. Look, honey, how would you like another brother? Could you use two? Someone like, like me.
Oh, no.
You wouldn't like me for a brother?
No. I'm going to marry you.
Oh. Well, that's settled.
You want me to teach you a game?
A game? Yeah, I'd love it.
We could play horsey.
Well, that sounds exciting. What do I do?
You get down on the floor on your hands and knees.
Do I have to?
So don't you want to play with me?
Okay, honey, you would. Now what?
Now I get on your back. There. Giddy up, horsey!
All right, here we go. Hang on now. Hang on, honey.
Hard-boiled Mr. Valentine.
Oh, Claire, we're playing horsey.
You make a beautiful horse.
Oh, thank you. Claire, this is the girl I'm going to marry.
Oh, congratulations.
Mr. Valentine, Mrs. Martin will see you now. She's in her office if you'll just follow me.
Okay, thanks. Bye, honey.
Goodbye, George.
See you in about 16 years.
Don't forget now.
Don't forget now. Cute kid.
Her office is on the other side of the play yard. This way, please.
Oh, miss, wait a minute. Look,
Yes?
I won't bother Mrs. Martin. You give her a message for me, will you?
All right.
Just tell her that I personally guarantee that Jimmy Jones will be here for the benefit. And furthermore, he'll be on his horse, too.
Mr. Valentine, I have Mr. Jones on the phone for you now.
Oh, thanks, Claire. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, George. What's on your mind?
Now, listen, Jimmy, you can't let those kids down. Why, they believe in you. Why, they think you're their big brother.
Sounds as though you've been out to the orphanage, George.
Well, now, look, you know me, Jimmy. I'm not sentimental or anything like that, but, I can't have her disappointed. She named her mouse after me.
Her what?
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever had a mouse named after me.
George, what are you talking about?
Just this. You've got to ride Thunderbolt at the benefit.
But, George, I told you since the accident, every time I see a horse, I shake. What'll that do to the kids?
Oh, gosh. You're right, Jimmy. No, we can't let them see you that way. Hey, wait a minute. In the movies, you use a double, don't you? What about him?
Oh, I thought of him, but it won't work. He's built like me, but he doesn't look like me. The kids will get wise.
Well, then all we have to do is to find a double that looks like you. It's a cinch, Jimmy. Leave it to me. Oh, what an office force. What's the matter with you two? All you have to do is to find a man who looks like Jimmy Jones.
Well, what was wrong with Red Prescott?
His nose turns up and his hair is red.
Well, then what about Stanley Burns? Why, he was born on a horse.
Yeah, I could see that all right. One leg's bends south and the other bends north.
What about Mr. Manning? There's a similarity, even if his face is a little long.
I told you to find someone who looks like Jimmy, not his horse.
Oh, well, it's no use, Mr. Valentine. I give up.
But it's just a simple little job. Find a man about 6 feet tall with dark wavy hair and blue eyes, a nose that's reasonably straight, not too much chin.
Mr. Valentine.
What's the matter?
Don't you realize who you're describing?
Sure, Jimmy Jones.
Someone else, too.
Huh?
You.
Me?
Hey, that's right. Mr. Valentine, you do look like him. I noticed it the first time I met you.
Why, you could be brothers.
Why, that's terrific. Claire, get Jimmy on the telephone right away. Tell him I found his double.
You really think you found the right person, George?
I know I found the right person.
But is it someone we can trust?
Trust? Why, this man is the soul of honor. And what's more, he's got plenty of courage. And a heart of gold. Pure gold.
Say, sounds tremendous.
Well, I don't like to brag, Jimmy, but if you were to pin me down, I'd say he is tremendous.
Who is it?
Me.
You?
Sure. Remember how familiar we look to each other? I look like you.
Oh, that's where I saw you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's wonderful, George. You don't know how relieved I am.
Well, I told you I'd come through with flying colors, Jimmy. Now be at my office tomorrow morning.
Okay, thanks a million, George.
So long, Jimmy. Well, it's all set. Say, there ought to be a good fee in this for me.
Oh, I'm sure there will be, Mr. Valentine.
Jeepers, Mr. Valentine, I can hardly wait for the benefit. I can just see you dashing into the arena on Thunderbolt.
Yeah, it'll be a big moment, all right. The kids will be clapping and yelling their heads off, and I'll come dashing into the arena riding on Great Caesar's ghost.
Mr. Valentine, what is it?
What's the matter?
I just remembered.
What's wrong?
I've never been on a horse in my life.
Well, it'll take George a minute or so to figure out what to do in this situation. Meanwhile, I wonder how many of you folks can be sure your cars are ready for winter. In many parts of the West, wherever winter means cold or rain, there'll be an epidemic of car troubles this year. Most folks are driving the same old cars, you see, and they're bound to be a little less reliable simply because they're another year older. So here's a good tip. Drop in at your favorite Chevron gas station and let the Chevron dealer check over your car. He's an expert, and because he's in business for himself, making you a regular customer means a lot to him. So you can bet he'll give your car the best of care. You probably need winter-grade RPM motor oil, or new windshield wiper blades. The battery may need recharging, or your tires could stand a retread job. Whatever it is, find out now before the weather gets really bad. Stop in at your neighborhood Chevron gas station this weekend. George had to find a double for Jimmy Jones, someone who looked like Jimmy and could ride Thunderbolt. It finally dawned on all of them that George himself resembles Jimmy, but then he suddenly remembered that he's never been on a horse in his life. Now it's a few minutes later.
Oh, that's fine, Mr. Valentine. That's great. You offer to take his place and you've never even been on a horse.
Well, there's nothing to it, Mr. Valentine. I'll teach you how to ride.
Sonny, you've seen Thunderbolt, haven't you?
Sure, lots of times.
Is he very active?
Oh, yeah, he's a very spirited animal.
Oh, a spirited animal, that's what I thought.
You're not getting cold feet.
Oh, no, of course not. But those kids will expect to see someone who can at least stay on the top side of the horse.
You've got nothing to worry about, Mr. Valentine. I'll teach you how to ride.
Sonny's really very good. Our grandfather raised horses in the country.
My grandfather raised cane in the city.
Come on, Mr. Valentine. We better get started right away.
Oh, now look, Sonny, I want to start nice and easy, understand?
Oh, sure. Just leave it to me. I'll have you riding like an old cowhand. Come on.
Okay. Claire?
Yes, Mr. Valentine.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Valentine. Shall I meet you somewhere for dinner?
Yeah. Make it Joe's Hamburger Hut. That's the one place in town we can eat standing up.
Yes, sir. Something in toys for the young man?
Oh, no. Not for me. For him.
For him? A toy for the gentleman?
Yeah, he wants
Sonny, not so loud. People are listening.
Oh, I'll whisper it. Mr. Valentine wants a...
He does?
Yeah, I just want him to get the feel of it.
Oh, I see. Well, very well. Second aisle to the left. Tricycles, scooters, kiddie cars, and hobby horses.
We're okay on that hobby horse, Mr. Valentine. Now for your second lesson.
Oh, but do you think I'm ready to ride this horse, Sonny?
Oh, sure.
Okay, then. Boost me up.
Okay. There you go.
Thanks.
Now, put your feet in the stirrups, Mr. Valentine.
Like this?
Yeah, that's right. Press your knees in.
Like this?
Yeah, that's good. Now, hold on to the reins with your left hand.
That's right.
Oh, you look fine, Mr. Valentine. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's good. That's swell. Hang on, Mr. Valentine. Don't fall off.
Oh, Sonny, I'm getting dizzy. Sonny, I can't see anything. Sonny, help. Stop this merry-go-round.
Oh, he's a beautiful animal, isn't he, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, cute. Very cute.
His name's Tornado.
Oh, you... How do you do, Tornado?
Mr. Valentine, come on down out of the haymow. He won't hurt you.
Well, Sonny, I don't think he likes me.
Oh, now, don't be silly, Mr. Valentine. Come on. Get up on him.
But do you think I'm ready for a real live horse?
the only way we can find out is to try. Come on.
Say, he's up awfully high, isn't he?
He's no higher than most horses.
Well, couldn't I try one of the smaller models first? Like that one over there?
Mr. Valentine, that's a Shetland pony. You don't want to ride him.
Why not? He has a very kind face.
Come on now. Get up on Tornado.
All right. Nice Tornado. Stand still, boy. I said, stand still. Sonny, tell him to stand still.
It's okay. Just jump up on him.
Well, maybe he won't like it.
He's used to it. Go ahead, Mr. Valentine. Put one foot in the stirrup and swing the other one over.
All right. Here I go.
Mr. Valentine, wait.
I think I'll make it.
But, Mr. Valentine...
It's all right, Sonny. Sonny, what's happened to this horse? Where's his head?
Get down, Mr. Valentine. You put the wrong foot in the stirrup.
Oh, is that it? I thought there was something wrong.
Now, try it again. Remember, your left foot in the stirrup, your right foot swings over.
Oh, it's no use, Sonny. You can't teach an old horse new tricks.
He's not old.
No, but I am. Come on, now, let's get back to the office.
But, Mr. Valentine, what about the benefit? How will you be able to take Mr. Jones's place and ride Thunderbolt?
Well, it's no use, Sonny. I can't do it.
Jeepers, I wish I could ride Thunderbolt.
Well, so do I. I'd like nothing better than to have... Sonny, why not?
Huh?
Of course. There's our answer. You'll ride Thunderbolt.
But, George, I don't get it. You do look like me, so why can't you take my place?
Why don't you tell him, Mr. Valentine?
Now, Claire, I'll handle this in my own way.
Jeepers, Mr. Jones, please let me ride Thunderbolt. I can handle him honest. Just ask my sister.
Will you keep quiet, Sonny? You see, Jimmy, I'm afraid that someone might catch on that I'm not you.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, I suppose there'll be reporters there.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And what if they find out? It'd ruin everything.
Please, Mr. Jones. I know Thunderbolt and I'll get along okay.
Yes, Sonny's very good with horses.
He's been riding since he was a baby.
But how can we work it? Sonny certainly doesn't look like me.
Well, Jimmy, I got this all figured out. Now, look, it's simple. You walk out and talk to the kids. You know, make a speech.
Yeah?
Then I imagine they'll begin yelling for Thunderbolt.
Oh, you can count on that.
Well, fine. Now then, when that happens, you say you brought Thunderbolt along, all right, but that you'd like to feel like a kid again and sit in the audience with them.
Go on, then what happens?
Well, then you say, how about one of you kids riding Thunderbolt? Who'd like to try it?
Uh-huh.
Now then, Sonny is sitting right in the front row. You can't miss him. And when you say, who'd like to ride Thunderbolt, Sonny jumps up and yells, let me, mister, let me.
Let me, mister, let me.
Yeah, that's the idea. And, Jimmy, no matter how many kids yell, you choose Sonny. Understand?
Oh, of course. I wouldn't dare take a chance on someone who didn't know horses.
Now, how does it sound, Jimmy?
It sounds okay, George, but you sure nothing will go wrong?
Listen to him. Now, Jimmy, I tell you, it can't miss. Why, what could possibly go wrong?
Did you ever see so many children in all your life, Mr. Valentine?
It looks as if all the kids in town are here. All except Sonny.
Now, stop worrying about Sonny. He'll show up.
But he should be here now. What's happened to him?
Well, I know he went to a movie early this afternoon. Then I think he planned to buy some riding boots.
Riding boots? I can't save this place for him much longer. Why can't he be on time?
Oh, just be patient, Mr. Valentine.
But they're getting ready to start the show. Oh, where is that boy?
Well, it's not like Sonny to be late.
Well, it's your fault, Claire. You should have brought him over with you.
That's right. Blame me for it. I always get... Oh, Mr. Valentine, they're going to begin. Here comes Jimmy Jones now.
Howdy, kids.
Oh, where's that Sonny?
I can't imagine what's keeping him.
Now, hold it, kids. Hold it. First, I want to tell you how much it means to me to be here again. You know, every year I look forward to my visit to the Brookdale Orphanage because it's just like coming home again for me.
Where is he? Where's that Sonny?
Oh, what if he doesn't show up?
But I didn't come here to make a speech. I just wanted to say hello to all my friends, to all my little brothers and sisters.
Mr. Valentine, you'll have to ride Thunderbolt.
Oh, that's impossible. I don't even know on which side to get on.
Now, is there anything I can do for you, kid?
Mr. Valentine.
Claire, think of something.
You can't let one of them ride him. It would be dangerous.
Well, it would be dangerous for me, too.
Now, take it easy, kids. Take it easy. Take it easy. That's it. Thunderbolt is here, all right, but look, I'm sort of tired of riding. I want to sit down there with the rest of you, with my friends.
Here it comes.
How about one of you riding Thunderbolt?
Mr. Valentine.
Who'd like to ride it?
Mr. Valentine.
Come on, who wants to ride Thunderbolt?
Mister, here's someone who wants to ride Thunderbolt. Go on, George, go on.
Claire, stop pushing me.
You've got to go now, George. There's no other way out.
Oh, now, Claire.
Come on, you've got to do it.
What a spot you put me in, George.
George.
Hello, Jimmy. How do you feel?
What's happened to Son?
He just didn't show up.
But, George, what are we going to do? The kids are waiting. Somebody's got to ride Thunderbolt.
George will ride.
Now, Claire.
I guess you'll have to, George.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'd like to. Really, I would. But I just can't.
Now, George.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What's the matter with you, George?
Nothing. Except that I've never been on a horse in my life.
Oh, you've never been on a horse in your life?
That's right.
Oh, this is a fine time to tell me. What about all these kids? They're waiting.
Listen, Jimmy, I'd never be able to get up on
But,
them.
George,
and
you
if I
said
did get up on them, I'd never be able to stay there.
But you said
and if
that
I did stay there, I'd die of fright.
Oh, I ought to wring your neck.
Now, that won't help any.
But what am I going to do?
Well, tell him you just noticed that Thunderbolt is indisposed. Yeah, tell him he has a headache.
Who ever heard of a horse with a headache?
Well, he's a very unusual animal.
These kids believe in me. Why, they've been looking forward to this day for months.
Then why don't you ride Thunderbolt?
Me?
Yes, you.
All right, I will.
Mr. Jones, you can't.
I can't let these kids down. I'll ride him if it kills me.
Mr. Valentine, stop him. Oh, Mr. Valentine, he's getting up on Thunderbolt. Mr. Valentine.
Oh, I can't look.
George, where are you?
Out in the play yard. On the teeter-totter.
Oh. Why didn't you stay in the arena?
Well, I just couldn't take it.
But, George, it was all right. Jimmy was magnificent.
What happened?
He rode Thunderbolt just as though nothing had ever gone wrong. The kids went wild.
Yeah, I heard them screaming, but I thought the worst.
Jimmy's looking for you. He wants to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet he does. Come on, let's get out of here.
But he's anxious to see you.
Anxious to break my neck.
Oh, now, George.
Well, what else would he want to see me for? I was certainly a lot of help to him. Just when he needed me, I failed him.
Now, George.
I suppose you think I'm a coward.
Oh, of course not.
Oh, it's all right. Go ahead. Don't hold back. Tell me what you think.
Well, I think...
Please don't say it, Claire. I don't want to hear it.
This has been a very happy day for me, George. It's a pleasant change to see you this way.
What way? I don't get it.
Well, you're usually so sure of yourself. But now you're just like a little boy.
You mean you'd like to take me in your arms?
Well,
if you have any kind of an urge, Claire, don't suppress it. It isn't good for you.
Oh, George, you're wonderful.
Oh, say that again.
Oh, George, you're wonderful.
Say that again.
Oh, George, you're wonderful.
Say that again. Jimmy!
You talk about acting. Well, your acting makes mine look silly.
Acting? Who's acting?
Why, do you know you really had me convinced that you were afraid to ride Thunderbolt? And that's just what you wanted me to think, wasn't it, George?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted you to think, all right.
Sure, you had to trick me into riding Thunderbolt.
Trick you?
You knew that once I got on him, I'd get my confidence back and I'd be cured.
Oh, yes, of course. That's what I had in mind, all right.
George!
Well, it was wonderful psychology, George. I don't know how I can thank you.
Oh, well, that's all right, Jimmy. Forget it. Glad to help you out.
George, are you trying to make me believe it was all an act?
Well, of course. What else? Why, I'm crazy about horses. There's nothing I like better than to ride on a really spirited merry-go-round.
I know that, George.
But I couldn't let on, even to you, Claire. I was afraid you might give it away.
Oh, I see.
Sure, I had to make the act look good, didn't I, Jimmy?
Why, of course.
Why, of course.
Will you excuse me now? Mrs. Martin wants to say something.
Oh, sure, Jimmy. Go right ahead.
But stick around. I have something to show you.
So it was all an act, huh?
Naturally.
Then you really like horses.
Like them? Why, I love them. There's nothing I like better than a brisk canter down the bridle path.
And to think that I bothered to feel sorry for you.
Hey, Mr. Valentine, when does it start? When do I ride Thunderbolt?
Sonny, what happened to you?
Where have you been?
Well, I went to see Jimmy Jones and Thunderbolt in their new picture.
But, Sonny, that was this morning.
Yeah, I know, but it was so good I stayed to see it 4 times.
Oh, Sonny.
Never mind, Sonny. We didn't need you. We got along okay, didn't we, Claire? Say, I'll bet I'll be able to get a good fee out of this. How much do you think I can stick him for?
You ought to be ashamed to take anything.
Oh, listen to her.
George. Oh, I'm glad you didn't leave. Come with me. I got a little present for you.
A present?
I was afraid you wouldn't accept any money from me, George. That would be just like him, wouldn't it, Claire?
How well you know him.
So I decided to give you something else.
Give me something else?
A little present. I think you'll like him, George.
Like him?
He's a full brother to Thunderbolt.
A horse?
Of course, he's a little wild yet, but think of the fun you'll have breaking him in.
George will be back in a moment. Meanwhile, neighborliness It always seems to me is as American as hot dogs at a ball game. Most of us can spot it right away and appreciate it, too. It's one reason, I think, why many motorists like to drive into Chevron gas stations. They're all locally run, you know. And since they're home folks, Chevron dealers are mighty accommodating. Every time you stop at a cream, green, and burgundy station, you know you're trading with a chap who's in business for himself, anxious to please you because his success depends upon it. And there's another point worth remembering. Every Chevron gas station carries RPM compounded motor oil and climate-tailored Chevron Supreme gasoline. They all honor Chevron credit cards, too. So just about everything a motorist looks for, he'll find at those neighborly Chevron gas stations. Try them when you're out for a drive this weekend. Well, next week, George finds himself in the middle of a lot of excitement. You'll probably hear him say something like this.
Mr. Valentine,
Yes?
how are you feeling?
Oh, fine, great. Never felt better.
Yeah? Well, enjoy your health while you got it. It won't last.
That so?
Get out of town, Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Valentine, what was that all about? What was it?
The same fellow who's been phoning me right along. He's still worried about my health.
Chevron gas stations all through the West invite you to be with us again next week for another chapter of Let George Do It, brought to you by the makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George Do It, starring Robert Bailey as George, with Frances Robinson as Claire and Eddie Firestone Jr. as Sonny, is written by Pauline Hopkins, produced and directed by Owen Vinson. Others in the cast were Harry Bartell as Jimmy Jones, Nina Clouden as the girl, Ann Whitfield as the child, and Stanley Waxman as the floor walker. The music was composed and conducted by Charles Dant. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to
Let George Do It.
This is the Mutual Downey Broadcasting System. Your neighborhood Chevron gas station invites you to
Let George Do It.
Brought to you by the makers of climate-tailored Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. George Valentine would be the last person in the world to take a job that was not exciting, even with a large salary attached. That's why he opened his office and advertised to solve any problem, for a fee, of course. Well, he's had his excitement, all right, sometimes more excitement than he bargained for. Right now, George, his secretary, Claire, and Sonny are driving along in his car.
Mr. Valentine, why so much mystery? Where are we going?
Just playing hooky from the office, huh, Mr. Valentine?
We can't afford to play hooky, Mr. Valentine. You know that.
Have you two ever heard of the Harding Bookshop?
Not I.
Never. Why? Should we have?
Well, that's where we're going.
To buy a book?
Of course not, Sonny. Mr. Valentine has a book.
Here, bright girl, take a look at this newspaper clipping.
What does it say, sis?
William Harding, eccentric owner of the Harding Bookshop, died in his sleep last night. He leaves his widow Harriet and a nephew Frank. Mr. Harding had been in poor health.
Okay, that's enough.
Well, what about it? A man dies in his sleep. Where do we come in?
Well, his widow phoned. She wants me to meet her at the bookshop at 11. She made it sound urgent.
Jeepers, I wonder why she wants to see you.
An eccentric book dealer dies in his sleep. His widow is very anxious to see me. Kids, I don't know what it's all about, but it has all the ingredients for some real excitement.
Oh, it's no use, Mr. Valentine. The bookshop's closed.
Maybe Mrs. Harding hasn't arrived yet.
Wait a minute. I think I hear someone in there.
I'm sorry, but we're not open for business. The shop is closed.
Oh, Mrs. Harding, I'm Mr. Valentine, and these are my assistants.
Oh, of course. I've been expecting you. Come in.
Saffron cats, look at the place.
Books scattered all over.
Yeah. Somebody been searching for something, Mrs. Harding?
You can see why I called you. Someone broke in here last night.
Did you phone the police?
No, I didn't.
No? Why not?
Because I think it was an inside job. The windows were securely locked. They don't look as though they'd been tampered with. Someone unlocked the door and walked right in.
I see. You suspect someone in your family. That's why you didn't phone the police.
Mr. Valentine, I won't try to keep anything from you. I suspect my husband's nephew, Frank.
Did he have keys to the shop?
As far as I know, my husband and I had the only keys.
But you must have some reason for suspecting Frank.
Well, he's always been a wild boy. I never had any use for him. My husband was fond of him. He even had Frank helping here in the shop.
Mrs. Harding, just what was this person looking for, do you know?
Money.
Money?
I'm not sure, of course, but I think my husband had some money hidden away here.
Uh-huh.
You may have heard my husband was, well, he was odd. It would be like him to hide the money in his shop.
Then he mentioned some money to you?
He always said that we'd be well taken care of in our old age, and yet he died penniless.
I see. And just what do you want me to do?
If there's any money here, I want you to find it. I'll pay you, of course.
Oh, of course. But the shop's already been searched. Maybe the money's been found.
I don't think so. You see, I frightened the person away.
Oh, then you saw someone.
I just caught a glimpse of someone running away. It was dark, but I think it was a man.
Mm-hmm. Why did you come down here last night, Mrs. Harding?
I wanted to look around myself.
Oh, yes, of course. All right, Mrs. Harding, I'll keep in touch with you. Come on, kids.
I'll be waiting to hear from you.
Let's go, kids.
What do you make of it, Mr. Valentine?
Say, quite a girl, isn't she? Her husband dies, and that same night she's down at his shop looking for any money he may have hidden.
Well, why don't we stay here and search the shop?
Because someone beat us to it, Sonny. Besides, I want to know a little more about this case. And a little more about Harding's death, too.
Mr. Valentine, do you think he was murdered?
I'm just guessing. Come on, let's go to the car.
Hey, wait a minute. I want a word with you.
Jeepers, I wonder who that is.
Must be the nephew.
I just want to warn you not to believe half of what my aunt tells you. She's not herself. She's hysterical.
Oh. Well, I don't agree with you, Frank. Your aunt seems unusually calm, considering.
Calm? She called you in, didn't she? If she knew what she was doing, why would she call in a private investigator?
How did you know I'd been called in?
Well, you were, weren't you? Suppose she told you there's some money hidden away. That's a lot of baloney.
Is it?
You're just wasting your time. They said some money disappeared after my father died, too, but we never found any. There's always that kind of talk when someone eccentric dies.
Just when did your father die?
5 years ago.
Uh-huh. Frank, were you with your uncle when he passed away?
No. It was during the day. I was in the shop with my aunt. Miss Barry phoned us.
Miss Barry?
Alice Barry, the nurse. My uncle's known her since she was a child. Of course, she's a young woman now. Very attractive, too.
Okay, Frank. See you again sometime.
No, you won't. I'm going to tell Aunt Harriet to call you off.
Yeah, do that.
Do you think she'll listen to him, Mr. Valentine?
No, she doesn't trust him. Claire, I want you to get all the information you can on Harding's death, then meet me here.
Here?
Yeah, in front of the bookshop, about 10 o'clock tonight. And Sonny.
Yes, sir?
Get down to the Evening Express. Talk to Ben Steele. He's a friend of mine. He'll let you look through the old newspaper files.
But what am I going to be looking for?
Well, Frank's father died 5 years ago. Get what you can on it.
Okay, Mr. Valentine. Hey, what are you going to be doing?
Oh, he's going to talk to the nurse, of course.
Why, Claire, how did you guess?
Oh, she's young and attractive. Naturally, you'd want to investigate that yourself, Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Harding had been ill for years. There was nothing mysterious about his death. But don't take my word for it. Talk to Dr. Mark.
Oh, I'd rather talk to you, Miss Barry.
And I know Mr. Harding didn't leave any money. You're wrong about that, too. If you don't mind my saying so.
Miss Barry, when a woman is beautiful, she can toss my theories into the ash can, and I don't open my mouth.
I'll find that out after I get to know you better.
Oh? You're going to know me better?
Of course.
What makes you think Harding didn't leave any money?
Because he couldn't even afford to pay me a salary. He gave me this box of old phonograph records instead.
I see. Miss Barry.
Alice.
Alice?
Alice.
Alice, did Harding die in his sleep?
Oh, yes.
Then he didn't say anything before he died?
Well, he mumbled something.
Mumbled something? What, could you tell?
I suppose he thought he was a little boy again, listening to Mother Goose.
Why, what did he say?
Mary had a lamb.
Mary had a lamb. Are you sure?
Well, the words Mary and lamb were plain enough.
Uh-huh. Look, here's my card. If you think of anything else, give me a buzz, will you?
I'll give you a buzz.
Oh, good. Say, How does that verse go? Do you remember?
Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow.
Oh, yeah. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
You're late.
I was detained.
By the nurse?
Now, never mind.
What are we going to do, Mr. Valentine?
Well, we're going to get inside this bookshop.
Hey, Mr. Valentine, where did you get those keys?
They've opened lots of doors. See? Never fail.
I'll try to find the light switch.
Now, don't bother. I'll use my flashlight. Sonny,
Yeah, Mr. Valentine?
stand near the window, will you? Let me know if you see anyone.
Okay.
Mr. Valentine, the books are all back in place.
Well, Mrs. Harding must be a neat housekeeper. Come on, Claire. Now, we're looking for the section that has books for children.
Then the nurse did give you a clue. Was she helpful?
Oh, yes. And beautiful.
Really? Tell me about her.
Well, I haven't time. Couldn't do it justice. Here we are now. Let's see. Peter Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland. Hey, look for Mother Goose.
Is she a blonde?
Yes. Treasure
A
Island.
natural blonde?
Oh, Claire, will you concentrate on Mother Goose?
Oh. Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah, good. Now find Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Why?
Oh, Claire.
Oh, all right. Little Jack Horner, little Miss Muffet. Mary had a... Oh, here it is.
Good. Now read it.
Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow.
Uh-huh.
And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Do you want all the verses?
Well, isn't there anything written on that page?
No.
Well, maybe there's some more Mother Goose books.
These are all there seem to be.
Okay, hang on to it.
Put your hands up.
Oh, Mr. Valentine.
Suffering cats.
Now, what are you doing here, Frank? Where did you come from?
I was in back. I've been waiting for someone to show up.
Why? What made you think someone would show up?
Well, the place was ransacked last night.
And you thought it might happen again tonight, huh?
You can't tell. And Harriet says she frightened the person away. He might come back.
Uh-huh. That may be why you're here. Or then again, you might be looking for the money yourself.
I told you there isn't any money.
Okay, Frank. Now put that gun away. You might hurt somebody.
And get out of here, all of you.
All right, we're going. Coming with us?
I'm going to stay here and keep an eye on things.
Say, that's a very good idea, Frank. Just keep an eye on things. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. I can
Oh, Mr. Valentine, it's a little late to be reading Mother Goose.
Well, look, here's what we've got so far, kids. Harding's brother, who's supposed to have money, dies, but he doesn't leave anything. On the other hand, Harding, who's supposed to be poor, tells his wife they'll be provided for in their old age.
Oh, I see. You think he had his brother's money.
And he hid it in his bookshop.
That's what Mrs. Harding thinks, and so does Frank.
Well, go on.
Well, this Mother Goose rhyme should lead us to the money.
Why?
Because Harding tried to tell Alice about it before he died.
Alice?
The nurse.
Oh, first name.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, who'd be phoning at this hour?
Hey, get it, will you, Claire?
Hello?
Is Mr. Valentine there?
Yes, who's calling?
Alice Barry.
Oh, just a minute. Your nurse. And she's not a natural blonde. I can tell by her voice.
Have it your way. Hello, Alice.
Mr. Valentine, maybe I can help you after all.
Yeah, what's up?
Would you remember that Mr. Harding left me a box of records?
Yes?
Well, I was looking through the box of phonograph records when suddenly I... Oh!
Hello, Alice.
Mr. Valentine, what's the matter?
Something's happened to her. I've got to get over there quick.
Well, it'll take George a few minutes to get to Alice's apartment. Meantime, I'd like to tell you about a conversation I had recently. One of my Chevron dealer friends asked me the other day what qualities I look for in a gas station. So I said that, first of all, I looked for Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM compounded motor oil. Well, that's easy, he said. Just keep your eye peeled for a cream, green, and burgundy station. That's your cue for Chevron. Then I told him that I'm a credit card user. Don't blame you, says he, and don't forget that Chevron credit cards are as good as gold at our stations. So then I told him my favorite gas station must be a friendly place where I can depend on getting good service for my car. The dealer laughed and said, "It sure sounds like a Chevron gas station to me." We all had plenty of experience before branching out on our own. Now that we're in business for ourselves, we know how to keep our customers happy by keeping their cars in good shape. I had to agree with my friend. Chevron gas stations offer just about everything a motorist wants. Try them yourself and see. George was about to get some important information. The nurse, Alice Barry, phoned him, but before she could explain, something happened to her. Now, it's a few minutes later. George is opening the door to her apartment.
Alice! Alice! Oh, you poor kid. Here, let's get you up on that couch.
Oh.
Now, take it easy. You're going to be all right.
Oh, Mr. Valentine.
Wait a minute. I'm going to put you down here. There you are. Now, you better lie still for a few minutes. I'll get you a drink of water.
No, please don't leave me.
Now, don't be frightened. Hey, you've got a nasty-looking bruise on your forehead. Otherwise, you seem to be okay. How do you feel?
Oh, like I've got two heads.
Yeah, I'll bet. Want to tell me what happened?
Well, there isn't anything to tell. I was talking to you on the phone, and then it happened. Somebody took a sock at me.
Well, who was it? Don't you know?
No, he must have crept up and hit me from behind.
From behind?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't see him at all, huh?
No, for all I know, it might have been a woman.
Yeah, it might very well have been a woman. What about the records?
No, I guess they're gone. They were on that table over there.
That's bad luck.
Oh, don't worry about them. It was just an old bunch of records. Believe me, if all those endearing young charms, Who is Sylvia, and a few more like that.
But I thought you discovered something about them.
I guess the person who stole them thought so, too. No, Mr. Valentine, that's not why I phoned you.
Feel like telling me about it?
Of course. You see, while I was looking through the records, I got to thinking about Mr. Harding and what he'd said just before he died.
Yes?
I could almost see the whole thing all over again. He was moaning and tossing around in the bed. I ran to him and felt his pulse.
Go on.
I told you that he said Mary had a lamb. But now as I think back, Mr. Valentine, I'm almost certain he said Mary Hayden Lamb. Mary Hayden Lamb.
Mary Hayden Lamb. A woman's name?
That's right. Do you think it means anything?
Well, it must mean something. Yeah. It'll probably lead us right to the money. That is, if there is any money. Now, look, I gotta beat it. But I want you to lock the door behind me, understand?
Don't worry. After this, I'll always lock my door.
Good. Better put some ice on that forehead. It's turning a beautiful purple.
I'll be all right. Mr. Valentine.
Yeah?
If it does mean anything, will you let me in on it? I feel as though I have a stake in this now.
Oh, I don't blame you. Okay, Alice. I'll keep in touch with you. Hey, open up. Hey, Mr. Ward. Mr. Ward, hey, open up.
Wait a minute. You out of your mind? What are you doing here at this hour?
I want to buy a book.
Well, go away. We're closed. Come back in the morning.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Don't close the door, Mr. Ward. I got to have something to read tonight.
You realize it's after 11?
I know. I'm terribly sorry, but let me in, will you?
Oh, all right. Come in. Other people have sane customers, but I suppose it's got to be a mystery with at least 6 murders in it.
Mr. Ward, did you ever hear of a book called Mary Hayden Lamb?
Oh, never, no.
Are you sure? I came here because you have a reputation for knowing every book that's ever been published.
There's never been a book published by that name. Now, however, if you were to ask if there were ever a novelist by that name, I'd give you a different answer.
A novelist? Hey, of course. Why didn't I think of that? Well, tell me about it, will you?
Well, she was a local writer, and to my knowledge, she wrote but one book, thank heaven.
Why do you say that?
Because it's by far the worst trash it's ever been my bad luck to read.
I see. What's it called?
Isle of Love. It's about a girl and an island and a man, and if you want something to put you to sleep, I'll personally guarantee you your money back.
Then you've got a copy, huh?
One. Almost sold it this afternoon.
Almost sold it? Is that so? Someone wanted it, huh?
Well, asked me about it anyway. But evidently I had the good taste to turn it down. I found it on the counter when I was putting my books away.
Well, who asked to see the book, Mr. Ward? Do you remember?
Certainly not. I do a big business, young man, and I can't keep track of every customer who walks into my shop. Unless they make a special impression by getting me out of bed at this unearthly hour.
Okay. Anyway, you've made a sale. I'll take Isle of Love.
No, you've made a bad choice. Yeah, here you are. Marked down to 89 cents. And, young man, believe me, I'm cheating you.
Hey, Claire, Sonny, come on, wake up.
Oh, hello, Mr. Valentine.
May we go home now, slave driver?
Oh, I'm sorry, kids. I know it's late, but we can't stop now. Don't dare take the chance. Somebody may be getting desperate.
What do you mean?
What do you expect to happen?
Well, nothing if I can beat them to it. Now, Claire, I've got a job for you. How are you in the charm department?
Charm?
Yeah, that's right. Have you got any? Don't answer that.
Whom do I have to charm?
Frank.
The nephew? I quit.
Hey, I knew he was suspicious. As soon as I saw him, I said to myself, now there's
Shut up,
a guy...
will you, Sonny? Claire, I want you to get Frank out of the bookshop tonight.
So that you can get in there without his seeing.
That's the idea. Think you can do it?
Oh, it should be simple, even if my hair isn't blonde. Oh, don't worry, Mr. Valentine. I'll take care of Frank.
Who is it?
Oh, put that gun down, Frank. It's Claire.
Oh. You're Mr. Valentine's assistant, aren't you? What do you want?
Well, Mr. Valentine's just down the street at your aunt's house.
What do you want?
Well, I was with them, but then they wanted to talk alone, so, well, they sort of left me stranded. Don't I look stranded?
Yeah.
Well, your aunt was giving Mr. Valentine an earful. She's not very fond of you, is she?
You can't forget that I was once a wild kid. I've straightened out since then.
Oh, I can see that.
What do you want?
I want to come in. Use the phone to call a cab.
Why didn't you stop at a drugstore?
Oh, well, all right if that's the way you feel about it. Good night.
Wait a minute. Pretty late for you to be wandering around.
Ah, I knew you had fine instincts, Frank.
Oh, all right. Come on. I'll take you in my car.
Okay, Sonny, come on.
The coast clear?
Yeah, they just drove away in Frank's car. Now, don't turn on the light.
Excuse me for asking, Mr. Valentine, but just what are we looking for?
We are looking for a book.
More Mother Goose?
No, The Isle of Love. There ought to be a copy just like this one somewhere in here.
But why do you want two copies?
Don't you understand, Sonny? I've got to have Mr. Harding's copy of this book.
Oh. No, I don't understand.
Never mind. Just start looking.
Yeah, but Mr. Valentine, there's at least 1,000 books in the shop.
Let's see now. Mary Hayden Lamb was a local writer. Now, why would Harding choose her book unless... Hey, wait a minute. I think I got it, Sonny. He must have known her.
Well, what of it?
That means it would be Harding's personal book, see?
Oh. No, I don't see.
Come on. There's a little room in back of the store. Remember? That's where Frank was hiding the last time we were here.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, come on.
It's dark.
Careful now. Here we are. I'll look around with my flashlight. Now, let's see.
Hey, there's a desk, Mr. Valentine.
Are there any books on it?
Sure.
Read the titles.
Webster's Dictionary, The Complete Shakespeare, Cooking for Fun, and The Isle...
The Isle of Love. That's it. Grab it, Sonny, and let's get out of here.
Okay, Mr. Valentine.
We'll take it back to the office.
Hey, aren't we ever going to get to sleep tonight?
We haven't time. Now, let's get to the car. Sonny, duck.
Jeepers, what was that?
Somebody took a shot at us.
Mr. Valentine.
It's all right, Sonny. You missed.
Yeah, but let's get out of here quick. I don't think that person likes us. And then somebody started shooting at us. Oh, it was plenty exciting, sis.
You're lucky. Frank's a bore. His conversation is brilliant. It's either yes or yeah.
I guess it was Mrs. Harding shooting at us, huh, Mr. Valentine? Because Frank was with Claire.
Not for long.
No?
No, he just took me to a cab stand.
I see. Run out of charm?
Oh.
Jeepers, Mr. Valentine, you've just about taken that book apart.
Well, there's nothing in here. No secret compartment, no writing on the pages. I can't find a thing.
Well, then let's go home and get some sleep.
No, we can't stop now. Okay, kids, make yourselves comfortable.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'll have to start reading the book.
Aloud?
Certainly. I might miss something.
You're going to read all of it?
That's right. Here we go. The summer sun was setting in a blaze of glory, casting its light like a shimmering ribbon of golden orange across the lake. On the bank, her wavy hair streaming from her uplifted head, stood Jennifer.
Oh, I can tell this is going to be a classic.
Perhaps her dream of love was to become a reality, for coming toward her was a canoe, and in the canoe was a man.
Mr. Valentine, do you think Sonny's old enough?
Oh, keep quiet, will you? Jennifer sighed longingly. Sonny. Perhaps her stay on the island was at an end. Her face was alive with expectancy. Weeks had gone by. Jennifer knew that this was her man.
What choice did she have on a desert island?
In spite of his aloofness, in spite of his air of mystery, Jennifer knew that she loved him. And then a wonderful thing happened. He knelt beside her and kissed her.
Well, it's about time.
Oh, she said. Then you do love me.
Naive creature, isn't she?
Yes, he answered. I love you with all my heart. If you don't believe me, look carefully when the grandfather's clock strikes the hour of midnight. And I love you, too, she told him.
Wait a minute. What was that again?
And I love you, too, she told him.
No. Go back to where he loves her.
Oh, yes, he answered. I love you with all my heart. If you don't believe me, look carefully when the grandfather's clock strikes the hour of midnight.
Hey, that doesn't make sense.
Hey, wait a minute. The printing on this page looks a little different. Yeah, and so does the paper. Claire, get my copy of the book.
Here it is.
Okay, turn to page 82. Come on. Okay, now read that part.
Yes, he answered. I love you with all my heart. I swear it, Jennifer.
That's enough. This is it, kids. Mr. Harding printed this page himself. Look carefully when the grandfather's clock strikes the hour of midnight.
Mr. Valentine, there's a grandfather's clock in the bookshop.
That's right, Sonny. And there's where that money must be hidden. Claire, get Mrs. Harding on the phone. Tell her to meet us at the bookshop right away.
At this hour?
And then phone Frank at the shop. Tell him to expect us.
All right.
Oh, and Claire, phone Miss Berry, will you? She wanted to be in on the kill.
Oh, now you've got me phoning your blondes for you. Well, whatever you say, Mr. Valentine.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Valentine? Why don't you give me my money?
You mean my money, Aunt Harriet?
Now, don't fight over the money. We don't even know if there is any.
And why did you call us here?
And why bring Alice into this?
Well, if there is any money, you'll have to thank Alice. She gave me the clue.
Then it really was a clue, Mr. Valentine.
That's right, Alice. It led me to a book. And in the book, I found some words that Mr. Harding printed. It said, look carefully when the grandfather's clock strikes the hour of midnight.
The grandfather's clock? I'm going to see about
Now,
this.
take it easy, Frank.
Now, Frank, that's not your property. Get away from that clock.
There's nothing in here.
The clue didn't say there was something in the clock. It said, look carefully when the grandfather's clock strikes the hour of midnight.
Well, it's striking 12 now.
Well, what's different about the clock when it strikes 12 than at any other time?
When it strikes 12, both hands point up.
Smart girl, Claire. Sonny, hand me that chair.
Okay.
You think there's something on top of the clock?
No, above it. On the wall here. Yeah, you see? There's a false panel.
Need any help?
Oh, thanks, Frank. I think I can do it with the heel of my hand. That does it.
What is it?
Is there something in there?
Yes. A package.
What's in it?
Just a minute, I'll see. Well. Bills. Large denominations. And lots of them.
Let me have that.
Now, don't rush me. Hey, there's a note here, too.
What does it say?
Mrs. Harding, is this your husband's handwriting?
No, it isn't.
That's my father's handwriting. You see, the money is mine.
Not so fast, Frank.
Well, what does the note say?
It says, Dear Brother Bill, I'm leaving this money in your care. Frank is too wild to be trusted with it. When he settles down, you can give it to him.
Then give it to him.
Oh, wait a minute, there's more. There's a condition I attach to this. Frank must provide for you and your wife as long as either of you shall live.
Is that all?
That's it, Mrs. Harding.
Then it is Frank's money. Give it to him. He doesn't have to provide for me.
No, this money is for both of us, Aunt Harriet.
Well, that's more than I deserve, Frank.
You can stop talking right now and hand that money over.
Alice!
Give it to me, Mr. Valentine, and hurry up about it.
I never argue with a beautiful woman, especially when she has a gun in her hand.
Mr. Valentine, was she the one who was after the money all along?
That's right. When she phoned me and got bumped on the head, I thought it was funny I didn't hear the blow over the telephone. And if she was hit from behind, why was the bruise on the forehead?
Never mind the explanations. Hand that over.
Then she's the one who shot at us.
Certainly. She couldn't get in here to look for the book because Frank was guarding the place. First, she tried to put me off the track with that Mother Goose stuff. But she finally gave me the right clue. She figured if she told me the truth, I'd get the money and she'd tail me and pick it up.
That's enough out of you, Mr. Valentine. Give me the money.
Oh, certainly. Here you are, Miss Berry.
But, Mr. Valentine...
Now, don't try to stop her, Frank. It's dangerous.
You're right. It is dangerous. Stay just where you are. Don't even make a move.
But, Mr. Valentine...
Careful.
But you're letting her get away.
Not very far. The police are out there.
Hey, it's okay, Mr. Valentine. They got her.
Your money will be returned to you, Frank.
Thanks, Mr. Valentine. I owe you a lot.
That's right. But you'll get a bill in the morning. Come on, kids.
Good night, Mr. Valentine.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, I'm really going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, so am I.
Oh, too bad. Too bad it had to end this way.
Huh? What do you mean?
He's thinking about the nurse. Aren't you, Mr. Valentine?
You know, Claire, I believe she was a natural blonde after all.
George will be back in a moment. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter whether you sit in an office or ride a tractor. Life these days seems to be getting more complicated for everybody. Any convenience that makes living a little simpler is always as welcome as spring. Your Chevron dealer knows this, as any friendly businessman should. So he tries to make you his friend by making his cream, green, and burgundy station as convenient and efficient as he can. He'll make it a point to know your car and the grade of RPM compounded motor oil you use. He'll urge you to use a Chevron credit card because he wants to save you time. He handles Chevron Supreme gasoline because he knows it'll give you good going wherever you drive. He takes the trouble to know the country nearby so that he can give you good travel tips. When you get right down to it, at Chevron gas stations, you get the same sort of convenient service you expect from any other wide-awake home-owned business. Get acquainted with the one near you. You'll like it. Well, next week, George Valentine is confronted with a problem, a big problem. You'll probably hear something like this.
Client or no client, Mr. Valentine, you can't keep a dog that big in this apartment.
Jeepers, do you realize he eats 6 pounds of food a day?
6 pounds? What kind of food?
I'm not sure, but he seemed awfully fond of my head.
Okay, Sonny. Go out and buy him a bone.
Chevron gas stations all through the West invite you to be with us again next week for another chapter of Let George Do It, brought to you by the makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George Do It, starring Robert Bailey as George with Francis Robinson as Claire and Eddie Firestone Jr. as Sonny, is written by Pauline Hopkins, produced and directed by Owen Vincent. Others in the cast were Jane Morgan as Mrs. Harding, Harry Bartell as Frank Harding, Evelyn Scott as Alice Barry, and Paul McVeigh as Mr. Ward. The music was composed and conducted by Charles Dant. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to
Let George Do It.
This is the Mutual Donley Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to and showing your support for my podcast. If you would like to receive notifications of when new episodes are posted, please subscribe to my channel. Subscriptions are 100% free, and they really help me get an idea of how I'm doing. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, and as always, peace.